what's the ceiling for Oklahoma in the SEC. Considering the recruiting that goes on, just consider geography and where they are in relation to the best players in the country. I just don't see it. I just don't see it. Now, there could be a year or two where they catch fire in the portal and become what Oklahoma was in the Big 12, a team that can make the playoff, but certainly not capable of winning it. And that's fine. But they're not going to be Georgia. They're not going to be Alabama. They're not going to be Texas. What Oklahoma will be is Auburn, Ole Miss, Florida. Teams that are good enough to make some noise. Teams that are good enough to win the SEC once every, 3 years or so. Florida's been there with Kyle Trask. Auburn has been there consistently. Hell, Auburn in 2017 was 1 win away from making the playoff as a 2-loss team. So that's what Oklahoma can be. And that's fine. That's fine. That's the expectation that needs to exist in Norman. And I know that you probably hate to hear that, Sooner fans. But that's just reality. You're not going to be the big dog. You're not going to be that team that everybody just defaults to as one that will contend for the SEC because of the roster. That's not how this is going to work. Now, I love Brent Venables. Can they be a 9-win team pretty much every season? Yeah, I think that might be a little aggressive, but it's possible. Anything beyond that is, I think, a little too much.
Welcome to another OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. My name is Brandon John. We got Damian Mackey, National Championship wide receiver for the University of Oklahoma and OU Insider podcaster on the Barry and D-Mac show. Joining me today, filling in for one Parker Thune. Guys, ladies, hope you enjoyed that intro. I know I did, and man, there is a lot to talk about. Barrett Selly, or I think that's how you pronounce his name, Sally. Probably, I think people probably think it's Sally. But yeah, from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I think that's where we got to open up. I know the SEC day was yesterday, but that has been such a topic of conversation on all of Twitter, on OU Insider. D-Mac, take us away. What do you think?
So I'm confused. Are we talking data? Are we talking history? Are we talking recent history? Are we talking hopium? Are we talking hating? Because I'm really interested to know what metric he's using to say the University of Oklahoma is Auburn. With all due respect to Little Bro in Alabama, there is no metric, no data point. There isn't any correlation between the University of Oklahoma and Auburn, whether we're talking past history, recent history, championships, All-Americans. And for, our history against the SEC isn't exactly chopped liver. Speak of the devil, Florida recently, Auburn recently. I mean, I'm Tennessee. Shall I keep going?
Yeah.
I have one more thing to say that really irks me. What happened when Little Bro and Little Cousin from the Big 12 first went to the SEC, Missouri and A&M? They kind of went over there and let those guys know. By the way, they were run-of-the-mill teams in the Big 12 by the time they left, and they went and were both competing for conference championships year one. And so, I think there's a lot to discuss there. I feel like there's some emotion. I saw some Auburn footballs behind them, and maybe Buddy was speaking with his heart and hoping to create some controversy and get some X clicks, more so than the tail of the tape of the football field. Because let's talk recruiting and what OU is doing right now. Let's talk coaching and environment and culture. And let's talk September, because he's got about a month and a half to continue to blab those lips and speak what he wants to say before folks got to lace him up and see what's going to happen when we officially start playing games. So cute. I think that was cute. I hope some of the guys on the team hear that. If not, I'm going to make sure I send a couple messages out to make sure they know that's chalkboard material, because they got a point to prove.
Yeah, I thought the geography thing was just the stupidest crap I've ever heard. Like, maybe I'm crazy, but I look at the 2025 class and look at the state of Oklahoma they don't produce a ton, but they produce 4 or 5 guys every year that everybody in the country wants out of the state of Oklahoma. This year, it's been far more, right? In 2025, it's been, I think there's probably 11, 12, if not more.
That's a lot.
2026 is going to be similar. 27 and 28, I know, are loaded in the state of Oklahoma. You already see the offers going out. That was hilarious. But then you add the fact that Kansas City, Wichita, Arkansas, and then there's this little metro area about 2.5 hours south of Oklahoma City and Norman. That's about 10 million people in it, and that develops talent better than almost everybody. Not to mention East Texas is within a stone's throw. If Oklahoma can throw an 8-hour net any which direction. And there is plethora of talent for them because they live in a very fertile area. Oh, and by the way, they're a national brand. That's what got me is I'm sitting here thinking like, dude, you live in Georgia and Oklahoma goes and picks 2 or 3 every year from there. Florida, 3 or 4. Like, what are we talking about, bro? Shut up. Shut up. Just I don't even know what more to say to that other than I get that the schedule is going to be tough, and I don't think anybody's sitting there going, OU is going to win half of the conference titles like they did in the Big 12.
Right.
But let's roll it back about 15 years. What was the best division in college football?
Oh, it was the Big 12. Big 12 South.
The Big 12 South.
Hands down.
Who won that shit every year? I'm sorry, excuse me. Crap, every year.
That interlocked OU. Right
there you go. There you go. So it's not like Oklahoma's not used to it. As a matter of fact, whenever they play in a tougher conference and against tougher division, and whenever Texas is better, guess who ironically usually is better as well?
Rise to the occasion.
Crazy how that works.
Rise to the occasion.
I don't know how you can look at. I want to ask you this: how can you look at Oklahoma for the last 75 years and sit there and say that?
He can't, or if he does, it's going to be hypocrisy because he brought up specifically Georgia. Where was Georgia before they got a coach that turned things around? They were known to be 8-4. They were an underachieving team and a fertile ground for recruiting. So to just make the assumption that it could happen on one program that was not a true top shelf blue blood and assume that you can't do it at another program that is a true to life. They just did the publication for OU joining the SEC. It was all over social media. It was all over Twitter. And bar none, the only program in the SEC, historical, recent, All-Americans, Hall of Fame, 90s, the whole 9. OU was number 1 or number 2 against the special SEC. And so when you look at that and you say, okay, there's also another publication. I made a joke to my buddy talking about OU's defense, and the D line was number 7, and then the backers are number 1, and the DBs are number 1. Brandon, you know what I said? I said, oh, we're already getting the SEC bump, right? Like when you join the SEC, all of a sudden you've got to have the best, position groups in football. And I said, hey, we're reaping the benefits of being in the SEC. Now they got to play us week in and week out. And they always talk about, oh, you like, okay, you guys can downplay, playing some of the teams we played in recent years, but now you guys got to play us. And I got to tell you, that it's not going to be an easy game for anybody on the schedule, including the LSUs, the Alabamas, and the Tennessees. And so I'm looking excited.
Right.
I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to September. Like we can talk all we want. We got to lace them things up. And I like the guys we have. I like the unit we have. I like the coach we have. We're gonna shut some folk up year one.
I I'm other. I look. Sooners Cowboys is over there saying he lives in Georgia, just so everybody knows. Um, that he has to prove it. Of course, they have to prove it in the SEC. Like nobody's sitting here. That's my point. Is I'm not gonna sit here and say that I think Oklahoma's gonna go in and just start raining in on everybody. Like I think that's a delusional way of thinking. I think Oklahoma's a 9-3, 8-4 team this year. And if they're better, good, good. If they go 9-3, they're playing for a potential chance to go to the playoffs, 12-team
Yep.
playoffs with that schedule. With that schedule, and that's
Yep.
my point. Is that I think Sooner or SEC Mike does a fantastic job, and he's obviously a big OU guy. Now that he's been around Oklahoma for a while, we had him on our. You can go watch it. We interviewed him before he came down and visited Oklahoma, and he was singing the praises of Oklahoma before that. I think he has the most realistic view of what Oklahoma is going to be, and he says 8-4, 8-4 type of season. And I think that's realistic, right? Going into
Yep.
the SEC, the week in and week out grind, and I don't think anybody's going to be shocked if they do better. I don't. I think that if they do better, I think people are going to look at it. Okay, this is Oklahoma. This is what they are, and it's not going to shock anybody. But I think there's a lot of people nationally that want to see Oklahoma struggle because they want to say, "See, we told you you were going into the SEC and you were going to struggle. We told you didn't listen. Now you're going to listen to us. All that recruiting, all those great classes, all for naught because you weren't ready for the physicality. So it's going to take a few years for you to get used to it. Yeah, I don't think so, but we'll see. I think, as you said, September, you're going to lace it up. You're going to go against Tennessee. I think that's a perfect start for Oklahoma because Josh Heupel's coming back, and that's going to be such a big deal. It sets up just super nice, but unfortunately, after that, it is a damn gauntlet.
Sure.
So you got to go to Auburn, and then everybody else gets like a bye week before they play Oklahoma, or they play the Sisters of the Traveling
Yeah. The
Pants
Citadel
University,
A&T handkerchief
yeah,
junior college
East
for
Handkerchief
the blind.
University, the great Bob Stoops.
That's the
Yeah,
Bob number one liner for sure. Yeah, I look at this
yeah.
guy. You know what though, Brandon? If you asked us what was Missouri before last season, you know what I mean? Like Missouri was an also ran 2 years ago, and they had a great year, but they lost a lot of
What
pieces.
happened the first year they came to the SEC?
Well, they
The
kicked
first
ass.
3 years.
Yeah, they were a factor.
What about A&M the first
They
three
were they
years?
were a factor. Facts. So every year's different. And I know everybody's program is trying to get their ducks in a row, and OU's gonna have something to say about Missouri with the Caden Green thing that happened over the course of the last portal season. And I just think X's and O's, Jimmy's and Joe's, we've got better schemes and we've got better players. And so there are some games that people are saying, oh, that's going to be problematic. Teams usually struggle when they have to replace a quarterback. That's LSU, right? Teams usually struggle the first year with a new head coach. That would be Bama, right? By the way, Tennessee is replacing their quarterback as well. So when there's so many variables that people are just penciling in because that SEC patch is on some of these other teams that they're going to be a game where we struggle. I think there's going to be games people think we're going to struggle that we're going to do extremely well. But I also believe every week having to play somebody who's going to have some guys who are going to be on NFL rosters is going to be a wake up call to our players in the attrition battle. It'll be interesting to see how our health is, how our depth on places like the O-line stacks up, and if our quarterback, here's the deal, and this is why recruiting matters. And Brandon, I think you'll agree with this. If Jackson Arnold is who we think he is, he's worth 2 more W's that are fence sitter games. If he goes out and plays winning football, meaning he is the determining factor between a loss and a win, SEC is in trouble. By the way, what was his name? Johnny what? Johnny Football? Wasn't he
Yeah.
worth 2 or 3 victories when A&M didn't have
He was
SEC
stupid
talent? Oh,
good.
no, he
He
was
was stupid
ridiculous.
good.
He
I
was
witnessed
ridiculous.
it firsthand in the Cotton Bowl that year.
He was
That was rough
ridiculous.
to watch, bro. That was rough to
Yeah.
watch.
They kicked our teeth in Dallas for sure.
It was bad. Oklahoma did not look good. And you have to look back at the defense too. And the defense was loaded with a
Yeah.
bunch of NFL talent. They just looked like they had whenever he
Playing in
took off
quicksand.
running, yeah, they just had looked like they had cement on their
Yep.
cleats.
Yep.
Like cinder blocks. And the same thing with Mike Evans. Every time he was running down the field, it was like, geez, you going to cover him or what's the deal? Anyways, I know OU fans don't want to hear about that. All right. SEC Day was yesterday, the inauguration into the SEC. Well, I guess it was 2 days ago,
Yeah.
September 1st. How, what was your overall thoughts of that? I'm sure you probably watched it wall to wall like I did. I know our guy Jesse and Brian, everybody was out covering it. I'm on vacation, so I watched it from afar. But
I see the
uh,
palm trees in the background. I
yeah,
see
yeah,
you
yeah,
living
yeah,
lavished.
yeah, yeah. We're at the family. We have a family beach house here in Outer Banks that we come to every year that my father-in-law owns. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, the what was your overall thought of that? I thought Oklahoma showed out. I thought they
Yeah.
did a really good job of representing the SEC, and I thought it was funny. Like there was some split, right? Like a lot of the SEC fan bases are like coming to Oklahoma's defense and just they're coming after Texas like crazy. It's like they're welcome, you're not.
Yeah. I think first things first, listen, I'm proud to say we are a part of the best conference in college football again. Again, I'd say it with my chest out. When I was in the Big 12 was the best conference in college football. You can look up the numbers. And so
Mhm.
us going into the SEC and playing against the best, playing with the best, some of those historical stadiums, right? Historical fan bases and atmospheres and environments, it's going to be amazing. I think it's phenomenal for the university. Shout out to Joe C. I like the jab he threw at old Mule Shoe. You know what I'm saying? I thought that, just making that statement and letting everybody know that we are unilaterally walking in the same direction. Everyone's locked in saying, hey, we're excited to be here. The coaches were right chomping at the bit to be in the building. Those things matter. And like you said, I personally believe the SEC, one, I think they identify with us more because Texas is a little sedity and, those guys are divas. But I also think that from an SEC lens, they think Texas is the bigger threat today. And so there's going to be a little bit more
Mhm.
animosity thrown in their direction than to us.
That's
And
fair.
I'm cool with that because like I said, right, each team's going to get their chance at us and each team's going to get their chance at Texas. But I do believe there's a little bit of fear, a little more fear in Texas direction, especially with their HBC coming from Bama and then making it into the playoffs last year. But I think culturally we're gonna fit right in. They're gonna soon find out that we play a physical brand of football here.
Mhm.
I think they're gonna enjoy themselves when they come to Norman. I think they're gonna see that we travel well and will be a great top tier program in all sports. I think we'll do well
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah. I agree with you. I thought it was funny when Patty said that there was nobody was sending her any welcome, you
Yeah.
know. Oh yeah, like she was like, no, no, nobody wants to welcome me around here. And there's probably some truth to that. There's probably some vitriol, 'cause they're gonna be throwing OU softball way. And but yeah, the Joe C comment was fantastic. We made some shirts of that exact comment with the fedora, and yeah, they're good.
Hey, bro,
Um,
you gotta send me one. Let me rock
on
one of
OU
those.
Insider. So I don't know if Spencer wants to put the link in there, they can people that are on this can go check it out. There's some really good shirts on there for you guys if you want them. But yeah, there was it was you had to make something of it. I mean, you're either with or for. I don't remember what the exact comment was off the top of my head, but it was definitely a mic drop because you could tell Josie had been waiting for the right time to come after him, because I don't really have any animosity towards Muleshoe, because I frankly, yeah, he lied. Okay.
Yep.
He did. He lied to everybody, but I knew him fairly well outside of the podium and, you know, the coaching box and the sideline part of him. Like outside of the coaching side of him, I knew Lincoln. And so I had a relationship with him fairly well, and he was very cool to me. And to the point, whenever he had something that he disagreed with me on, and I saw him and I looked down at the phone and I would see that Lincoln Riley was calling, I knew I was going to get a tongue lashing of some sort.
That's
But,
funny.
those are the type of relationships you have when you're in the media with some of these guys. But I mean, the best part about it is that he understood that I was never out to get the university like I just kind of did. Like when I'll give people a prime example, when they brought in, I can't remember the uh the country music guy at that one of the spring
Oh
games.
God. Yeah, they had the guy doing the concert 5
Yeah,
seasons ago. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
yeah, and it was 2018,
Yeah.
and I was just against it. I was like, dude, you got to get somebody a little bit more like Bruno Mars or somebody like that, like somebody that would be okay with the older fan base, because a lot of my dad likes Bruno Mars, right? Like, and my stepmom likes Bruno Mars, so like that's kind of deal. Like there's they cross there's those lines of the generational lines, right?
Yep.
And so he called me. He's like, dude, the recruits aren't even going to be around it. We're just trying to get people in the door, trying to get people in the stands. People that may not ever want to come to a football game will be there, and the atmosphere will be better because of it. Like, you've got to lay off of us on this, please. Like, he was like asking. Yes, it was Trace Atkins. So, like, I mean, there were times that, and
Time
you
out.
know,
He
other
hit you up and said, please do me this solid and get these people. That's hilarious. Salute to you guys for having the chops for him to even say that. But God dang, come on, you should get somebody who's gonna be an excitement for everybody.
Yeah, he was like, dude, don't hate, please. Like, just let people come in. Like, stop hating on it. Stop hating on it, please. Like, it's funny. I'll say that now. I'll say
Sure.
it now. He's been gone for long enough. I'll say that crap now. But yeah, it was kind of funny. I Gut said, I'm 32 and never willingly listened to Bruno Mars. Look, I get it. There's some people that don't like his music. His music's catchy, and we're talking about just trying to get people in the door. Trace Atkins did it, I guess, and we're totally digressing here, but
Sure.
that was a funny story.
Yes, it
That,
was.
like, so I don't have anything against Lincoln per se, but
I do.
well, you have every right to, being an alum. You played, right? You felt like he just completely jaded your university. I I have something against how he handled it. 100%. I thought it was bush league. I thought it was weak. I thought he was a little for it,
Can I
but
interject? Can I say something real quick?
go for it.
Didn't he quote, "You can't recruit that well in Oklahoma"? Was that a quote? Were there air quotes around that comment that he made? I'm interested because in the last
I
two
don't think
years,
he said that. And the fans, you would have to chime in here on that. Please comment. Let us read this. Tell us, please. I don't
I'm
know that he
pretty
said
sure.
that,
I'm pretty sure
but
he
I
said
know he
something
he
along the line.
alluded to that though. He
Yeah, well,
alluded to it. He alluded to it, and Oklahoma is kicking their ass.
so can you recruit in LA?
Recruiting.
Like, are there beaches in LA still, or are there
That was
beaches
a Bob
now?
Stoops quote, by the
I
way. The
know,
no
I know,
beaches.
I know, but it just seems to me all of a sudden we got beaches now or whatever. Because I got to tell you, BV is doing his job. We got to win on the field, but BV's doing his job. Just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. No, these are some funny stories. All right. So let's talk. Oh man, my mic's about to fall apart. Um, are you how close are you following recruiting right now?
You know what? I'm picking up steam. I kind of um tapped out. I had some real big business dealings happening here in Dallas, Q3,
Mhm.
Q4, and kind of separated myself. But now I'm getting back into it. I'm seeing the Carl Albert kids. So my roommate was Jay. One of my roommates was Jay Hunt. So I've always been dialed in with
Okay.
Carl Albert. Seeing those studs coming in, I'm concerned about Backer. You know what I'm saying? Like, where are our stud backers, especially with an All-American on the shelf, getting ready to go to the league? I'm looking for us to
Oh, the
close on.
depth's really good there. They're
Oh,
low. They're so young and loaded there. It's going to be kind of hard to. They can only get one in this
I'm
class.
I'm in love with Lewis Carter. I shouldn't say that. Lewis Carter is. I think he's gonna be
You
the
can have a man
goods.
crush. You can have a man crush
I don't
on
know
this
if I can
this
have a
show.
man
Yeah,
crush. I
we're
don't know
all
if I can
about
have a
man
man crush.
crushes
I don't
around
know
here,
if I can
bro.
have a man crush. Y'all can have a man crush. I don't know if Mackie can have a man. But I love his game. I love running backs to convert to linebacker because they're too physical on that side of the ball. That's what you want. They can see things early, and by all indications that I'm hearing, he's gonna kick some ass. But I'm paying attention a little bit. You know, not a little bit. I'm heading in the right direction. Uh, Paying attention to our guys for 25.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, we got this. The comment section's going crazy over everything that Lincoln said. It's kind of funny right now.
I wish I could say
Oh,
I should log in on that too.
oh,
Yeah, they got
oh.
my back. I bet you they got my back. I know they got my
They
back.
do. They do. They said that he did say it, and he said it on Colin Cowherd's show that it's harder to recruit at Oklahoma than it is at USC. And Cowherd just freaking was going
Dogging it.
six to mid. He was going six to
Oh,
midnight under the table
100%.
when he said that.
100%.
Oh, the West Coast. Oh boy, he was feeling himself after that. But it was not true. And now he's kind of like Cowherd's kind of hating on Lincoln a little bit. That's kind
Low
of funny.
key.
Um. Anyways, yeah, Lincoln he was softer than Charmin's four-ply that I wiped my butt with. You're right. That is correct. That's a very good Dundies. Yes.
Don't ask me what I think about Lincoln because I'll tell you the truth.
Are you daring me to? Because I will. What do you think of Lincoln
I don't.
Riley?
Can I? What are we? Are we a family show? Are we a
We are
PG
a
13?
family show, PG-13. I cuss every now and then. I try not to cuss that often, but
I'm gonna try to articulate my thoughts and form a very mature response. He's
okay.
artificial. If you were to wrap him around one word, he's artificial. His recruiting was artificial. We had high recruiting classes because he knew how to go get a top shelf quarterback, some receivers to go with him, and potentially an offensive lineman. But we were atrocious across every level of defense and in the trenches. He was an artificial human being who you further confirmed where he was more concerned about what we on the outside were thinking versus what his program was doing. I went to a game. This is a true story. Brandon, I went to a game. What I know who to talk to when I come into town. I ain't crazy, right? I'm one of those guys who, when I'm coming, I set myself up and I make sure I don't have no issues. So if I'm coming to town, this is during the Link era. It's me, it's JT Thatcher, and I'm not going to say, but a guy who was on Scully but never really did much. This is true. So I'm walking into the Barry Switzer, and JT's at the door. JT has his ring on. It's like, yo, dude, I'm JT. I got my ring. They don't want to let him in. So I make a phone call and I'm like, yo, I'm here. They come and it's me, JT, and another individual. And I just walk right in. They see JT. They let JT walk in. The other teammate doesn't get to come in. I'm pissed. I'm literally like, I'm not staying. This is ridiculous. Like, bro,
Mm.
he was on my team. He played when I played. I'm like, where they do that at? Like, in what world does someone play, bleed, sweat, cry, win at OU, and you can't even get into the damn locker room 3 hours before the game? I was livid. And I was like, why are we moving like this? And so, long story short, like, did he think that his game plan and his schemes were like Fort Knox or something? I'm like, I didn't understand why there were rules against allowing alumni, like legit scholarship alumni in the building. It really threw me off. And they were kind of like, yeah, DMAC, you're in. And like, bro, we all put in work to have the ability to lock in. Schools like Ole Miss have a whole suite for their alumni. Their alumni pull up, there's a suite with a chef and food and the whole nine. Like, Buddy's talking about, we're on the Ole Miss level, like, not an alumni, because there isn't anything in place. So when I think about when I think about good old Muleshoe, and I'm not going to call him that, you know what I mean, out west. I just didn't like his recruiting. I just didn't. I hated the fact they practiced in the morning. Where, like, what prompted him to think that was a good idea? And now the guys are free all evening. What do you think they're gonna do? You know what I'm saying? They don't got nothing to do. They're not tired from practice. They're gonna go out and act a fool. I'm glad he's at USC. I loved Caleb. I was a Caleb guy, and I won't be surprised if he's successful on Sundays. But I was okay with him leaving if it meant that we're gonna have a chance at BV, because I also knew how authentic Coach Venables is, and so I'm not surprised that the culture is back on par to where it was, where I thought it would be. I'm not surprised recruiting is on an uptick, and we're recruiting in the trenches well. We need a little more offensive line stuff going on there, but uh, again, if I got to say some 4-letter words, I would say them. I'd have a few 5-letter words for them as well. Because listen, man, in football, it's top down. This is one of the few areas in life still where like that head coach, that the power and the impact and influence they have matters. Period. If you got a, excuse my French, if you got a bitch made head coach, guess what? Some of the residual impact is going to be some bitch made play on Saturdays. And so I attribute a lot of our lack of success to him. And obviously the players gotta wear that too, because they were the ones losing football games as well.
As an alum that was one of your teammates, as he always tweets out, hashtag tell it. I know you know who I'm talking about too.
Yes, I do. Salute, 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 salute.
So yeah, having said that, yeah, the recruiting's changed a lot. You see it all the time. Yeah, I mean, you see it with how balanced it is. And I mean, a prime example, Oklahoma's safety room is stupid right now. Just insane, talented. Billy Bowman.
Who's
Robert
your favorite?
Jennings.
Who's your favorite?
Favorite
Not who's the most
safety?
talented, not the most talented. Who's your favorite?
I mean, like my favorite, like, well, as a person, there's two that I dealt with that I absolutely love, and that's Michael Boganowski and Peyton Bowen,
Yeah, you're
because
right.
I dealt with them like on a like Billy Bowman was so to himself through the recruiting process, and he like just all of a sudden became an Oklahoma Sooner. Like it looked like it was Texas, Texas, Texas. He was committed to Texas. Jada Coleman goes to Oklahoma. Obviously, his grandparents, Billy Bowman's grandparents, live in Norman. That was a big factor as well. And then all of a sudden he flipped. And that was a big deal when it happened. Like,
Yeah.
Texas fans were pissed. So fast forward now, and let me tell you a little something about Billy Bowman. Let me tell you all a little something about Billy Bowman that I was told just last week. Billy Bowman has been quiet. He's been reserved throughout his whole time. He's a I will show you type of leader. I'm not going to tell you, I will show you type of leader. And he has worked his ass off. He has done everything he's supposed to do right by the program and to be the player that he became. As a matter of fact, today I was talking to a source and they said the thing about where Oklahoma is at defensively is that now people understand the scheme mentally. They've recruited really well, but they've recruited and developed so well for the people that are coming in that the guys in front of them now understand the defense. And that's what, like he said, the first year, Billy Bowman struggled because mentally he wasn't there. He wasn't. He was good. He was always a really good player, just naturally gifted player, but he wasn't in the right spots. He wasn't doing the little things that he was supposed to do within the scheme to make plays. 12 months later, he was. 12 months after that, which is this year, not only is he doing what he's supposed to do on the field, he is getting in dude's ass in practice, from what I hear. I mean, and in workouts, he is like, if you're not here to go 100%, get the alley here right now, because I don't want you around me. I don't want you around players. And the source literally said it goes in line with what Saban and BV have talked about. Driven people hate lazy people. Lazy people hate driven people. And that's a quote. And the source said, Billy Bowman is so driven right now and so tunnel vision focused that if you're not in lockstep with what he wants to do, he's going to tell you about it and you're going to listen. And it goes even further. He's the one dude that when he tells Danny Stutzman that it's his time to talk and to be quiet because Danny Stutzman likes to lead, Danny Stutzman will move to the side and let Billy do his thing. That's how respected he is. Verbatim from a source. How wild is that?
That's bananas, bro. That's what
That
you
is
want.
a flip of personality from one dude, man. And you got to love it. If you're an OU fan right now, you hear that and you've got to like have hair standing up on your arms because that's got to be like, oh, dude. Like everybody expects that defense to be really good. You've got two leaders that are just bat crazy about being perfect and being just perfectionists and being the leaders on and off the field. Danny Stutzman, Billy Bowman. You add the Gentry Williams of the world to that are not so much they're vocal, but they're not jerks about it. You add Dominic Williams, who's coming in and been a really good leader so far, from my understanding. You add
Ethan Downs.
Exactly, Ethan Downs to that, and you've got guys, and they were sitting back. From what I was told, the coaches were sitting back, just kind of letting it organically happen. They were like, okay, no, a couple of these guys left that were vocal guys. Who's going to step up? Boom. Your stars stepped up. Exactly what they were hoping for on offense. Who do you think the leader is on offense? If you had to think one name, who do you think the leader is on offense?
If it ain't who I think it is, we in trouble. It's got to be the Q. If he's
well,
not
that's
stepping up,
yeah, he's one of them. But who do you think people respect more than anybody else on offense right now?
Nick Anderson.
Yeah, but who would strike fear when he gets in them? And I can tell you, and he's done it.
You tell me.
Think about it. He's been a big name since he's arrived. People have been talking about him being the next big offensive lineman since he arrived on campus, as far as NFL goes.
Man, I don't know. Is it you Brooks, ELP, what Sexton?
No. There it is.
Man, he got to
Sexton.
prove it. See, we'll see. We'll see with him. I know he was a hot ballyhooed recruit. We'll see.
No. But I mean, they're talking like they've always talked about his potential and leadership. Yeah,
is this his third year? Is this his third year or his fourth?
Yeah, it's his third year.
I'm squarely on the we'll see. I hope.
Yeah,
we'll see.
He did really well at the end of last year.
He did.
And before he got injured, he was on the verge of stardom. That's the thing. That's the sucky part.
Before he got injured, stay healthy.
Correct.
Stay healthy.
Correct. Now everybody, people aren't. They're not caught up with this in the chat as far as where we're at, and they're all going, "It's got to be Sexton." Yeah, it is Sexton. It's Sexton. Yeah, that dude, people respect. They respect him.
I mean, by the way, that's good to hear. And you want. Let's see. When I was at OU, Matt O'Neill. By the way, he was like the Undertaker to us. I was a freshman. He was our center. He played.
Man, I remember how big a deal it was whenever he got recruited to you because everybody wanted him. Yeah. Out of Stock, JUCO, that dude was a stud. Yeah.
Stock was a big dude, but Stock was a joker. I'm not even gonna lie to you. 2000 season, it's Bubba Burcham, man. And Bubba was a pastor and all kind of, good. He was undersized and
I heard he was crazy though.
Yeah, Bubba didn't mind getting his knees, you know what I'm saying, rolling them sleeves back and getting ugly with folk and doing what he had to do. Bubba was, I'm gonna do what I gotta do to make sure we get where we want to go. If Sexton can come out and be an emotional leader, which is what I think you're speaking to, that'll be big time. That'll be big time for the offense. You need an offensive lineman who can be that guy because guy ain't gonna lie, little guys like us, we talk shit, we hot dog, we doing this and that and everything else. You need some of those big guys to show love, tough love. So that makes me happy, but I wasn't gonna give it to him because I want him to be more consistent.
That's fair. That's fair. No, that's fair. But I mean, like, as far as in the eyes of the players over there, you got to talk about state champion wrestler. Like this guy's he's mean. He's also one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. His family is dynamic. But he's a jackass on the field, and that's okay because you need that.
That's great. You need a few
of
those.
in the workouts, like because he is just always super focused. So those are the type of guys, and from my understanding, Venables, they have like a leadership, and those are the type of guys that are in that leadership. And Ethan Downs we know he's crazy. We know he's certified crazy. Nicest guy in the world. He is the nicest, most sincere human being in the world. Helmet goes on. That dude's That dude's cuckoo.
That OU Texas play I was like, yo, we're gonna get a penalty. Stop. I'm like, oh, I love it. I
Oh, he
freaking love
didn't
it.
care, dude. He
He
stood over
did
him
not
twice.
care. He did. The second time I was like, I didn't throw the flag. They didn't throw the flag at the time. Salute.
No,
Salute.
no.
Take a picture.
But yeah, on the safeties, like you asked me, and we were talking about just that room. And I know everybody wants to talk about Amarian Robinson, who Oklahoma's still in on. He's going to announce this Saturday. Let me tell you something. And if you're not on OU Insider and you were rivals and you haven't seen the story that everybody was mad that, you know, Gorney put that out, Adam Gorney put that out, because I had been hinting about like the backstory and I was really excited to tell the backstory. I'm going to tell a little bit about the backstory. So Amarian Robinson's had two brothers that have been murdered. Okay. Yep. He also has an 11-month baby girl right now.
Wow.
He's been through hell and back for a 17-year-old kid.
Wow.
And he's going to get out of it, you know, and he is very proud of that. He's very proud of that he made it out. And like he grew up in a very rough, like his family didn't have a lot of money. But he's one of the nicest, most pure kids that I met. It's Oregon, Oklahoma, Arkansas. I like Oklahoma. I do. I like where Oklahoma stands. Oregon could go in and do some crazy stuff, and you know, Arkansas could come in last second and pull off a surprise. They did it with a linebacker just earlier this week, and nobody thought they were going to get that linebacker. So, like, you got to be careful. You got to be careful, but at the same time, everybody in that camp loves Oklahoma. He loves Oklahoma. His girlfriend loves Oklahoma. And it's not too far from his baby. And that distance is what the distance and everything that being taken care of with NIL, that's all encompassing for him. And so there's more to the story with his brothers and stuff like that. We'll get into that later on. But man, he is a kid that if you are an OU fan, it doesn't matter where he goes, you should cheer for that kid because he's doing everything he can to take care of his family, his daughter. After everything that he's been through, he's watched his brothers literally just get taken out of this world. And so at such a young age, and I don't know, man, like to me, like my hair stands up on my arm when I think about that because I feel for the kid. I know the kid very, very well.
Wow.
And so, yeah, it's been, he doesn't really enjoy talking a ton about it, but he'll talk about it. And I hope to get him on here one day and just let him kind of go into, and that's my goal is to let him tell his story because I think OU fans will really like it. But obviously, if he doesn't commit to OU, I'll tell it for you guys. But right now, I like where Oklahoma stands. Saturday at 4 p.m. He will be announcing, and then there's another announcement that's going to be coming up, or potentially coming up on the 5th. We'll start with that one, and this one's committed to Texas. Defensive lineman out of Florida named Brandon Brown. I didn't think Oklahoma was really that into it. Then I spoke to his mama. And I spoke to some other people around that kid today. And it sounds like Texas isn't in this right now. Now, obviously they could come in last second and be like, okay, look, we're going to take care of you. We're going to do what we need to do. You can stay committed to us. But if you talk to certain people around him right now, like it's OU LSU, if you talk to people in Norman, they're getting a little bit more confident, but they're also understand that there is a strong connection between LSU and Brandon Brown's family right now. So Oklahoma's got to get past that. But Todd Bates has done a miraculous job, as has Miguel Chavis. So that's going to be interesting. It was supposed to be announced on July 4th. It's now going to be July 5th because he just said, I want to do right by my family. I want to spend make July 4th family time. I'll go ahead and announce on July 5th and we'll go from there is from what I was told today. So that's where that stands. And
Can
then
I ask a stupid question? Can I ask a stupid question?
No, go for it. Go for it. Yeah, for sure.
What is there to announce if you're staying with Texas? So it sounds to me like you said.
Yeah. No. It doesn't sound like he's staying with Texas. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. This is OU or LSU. I kind of lean LSU right now, but I'm not sold on that ideology at all. I'm actually very on the fence almost with
Okay.
where I stand. But if I had to, you like put a gun in my hand and said you got to pick, I'll pick LSU right now. And God, I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I have no like nobody will tip their hand inside his circle, and so I've got some other people around trying to work on that. Um, yeah, Bo Davis has done a really good job at LSU recruiting him. I just his first off his this almost feels like Marcus Harris, where Brandon Brown didn't even have Oklahoma in any of his top schools, and then all of a sudden he's like, "I'm going to take an official visit to Oklahoma." There it is. Like I had to tell you when somebody told me like, "Well, Brandon Brown Texas commits coming in," I was like, "Excuse me." Like, I've not heard OU with that. And then all of a sudden now it's OU or LSU. I
That's
mean,
awesome.
that's the power of Todd Bates right there.
Yeah.
I got to give it up to him on that to get in there.
What you think about the lineman?
Lamont Rogers, I think that's,
Rodgers.
yeah, Rogers is going to announce on July 6th. He didn't put out an edit. So originally I had reported on OU Insider. I was like, look, I'm not going to,
I saw what you posted.
yeah, I'm not going to say the date because he's supposed to be having an edit. It's supposed to be out in the next 24, 48 hours. Then later on that night, about midnight ish, Parker and I get a text. They're like, yeah, it's going to be July 6th from another source from around him. And then slowly it started like matriculating out. So obviously that source reached out to other people, which is fine. And it got out. I liked Oklahoma a lot. I really thought Oklahoma was going to be it. Then Texas, you start hearing this Texas buzz today, and Texas is throwing a lot of NIL at Lamar Rogers. But then when you talk to people and you continue to talk to people, the rumors are true, yes. But there are a lot of people that still feel this is Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas A&M battle. I went from feeling like this was Oklahoma to now I have no freaking clue. But there's still confidence on the Oklahoma side. Like, it's just getting weird. And I hate when it gets weird. NIL makes everything just so hard to pinpoint when it comes down to decision time. And coincidentally, Michael Fasusi in Texas, like that. Why would Texas be pushing for Lamont Rogers if Michael Fasusi wasn't leaning somewhere else?
Michael Fasusi's the kid from Louisville.
He's the 5-star out of Louisville, and
So
his best friend just committed to Oklahoma.
I saw that.
The PWO, yeah, Sean Huff.
Check me out. Check me out.
Go for
My little cousin played at Marcus last year as a freshman. He played freshman for half the season. He got moved up to varsity. His name's Derek. His name's Derek Martin Jr. His daddy was an NFL DB, won 2 Super Bowls. Kids got it. So halfway through the season, we moved to Texas, and my cousin's like, "Cuz, come up to the game." And I'm like, I'll come to the game." He's a freshman playing varsity, stuck out like a sore thumb. Well, he transferred to Louisville. So now he's at Louisville. I think he's 27. I think his recruiting class was 27. He's a sophomore this year, 707. And so I texted my cousin about a week and a half ago, and I was told that it's not as strong to UT as people believe. So
no, that's the thing is a lot of people think it's Oklahoma right now.
Okay.
A lot of people that think it's Oklahoma right now.
Nice.
Yeah, so that kind of goes in line with the Lamont Rogers getting pushed really fast. And the other thing is I don't think that Oklahoma's out of it with Andrew Babalola. Like I did think they were out of it.
Wow.
And then I talked to somebody today and they're like, yeah, it's Michigan, Stanford, Oklahoma would be his top 3. And I was like, what? Like, where's Auburn and Missouri at? And they're like, well, they're kind of in the tier below right now. And I was like, golly. So I still think Beatenbow goes 1 for 3, at least, possibly 2 for 3 with the offensive line. But as long as he gets 1, right?
Yeah.
He's already got a stellar offensive line class. This would put it over the top. landing one of those guys would put it over the top. So you can't really hate. Like people are trying to be like, well, he hasn't gotten this. No, he's gotten some really good offensive linemen, right? He just got Darius Afalava.
Yep.
Like,
From Utah,
that's
right?
a Rivals 250 kid. Like that's a good player. Now, he's not a 5-star like Lamont Rogers, Babalola, and Fasusi, but if you can go 1 for 3 or 2 for 3 with those guys, I think you're going to be very, very happy. I still think Oklahoma ends up with between a top 3 and 6 class when this is all said and done, because you're
Wow.
going to have movement. Yeah. Well, they're already 4, right? And they're
Okay.
almost done.
What do we have?
So
19? How many do we have total?
yeah, 19. Yeah.
3 Carl Howard kids. I'm like, okay.
Well, it used to be 4 until
I know.
Sperry went back to Den
He
Geyer. Um, I look, and I know there's another name out there, Floyd Picard. I've been doing some digging on him. Defensive tackle he's a fast rising defensive tackle out of Florida, out of Miami Central. I asked today, and I said to a source, I said, "Is Oklahoma still in a really good spot?" He goes, "The source, straight up, they're not just a hat on the table. I'll say that." And so I take that, but they said they were going to ask around for me to get a little bit better information and get back to me. So I'll try to have some of that on OU Insider VIP. But man, I'm telling you, like if they can close in on half of they got like 6 guys left. If they can close in on, say they end up with 22, 23, right? And I think they're going to flip some guys come close to national sign. I think that's what you all need to understand is like they're not done. Like just because everybody's committed, right? And Fasusi isn't going to announce until, I'll say, late August would be my guesstimation right now. There's a date around there that is very important to his family. And I'm not going to say the date. That's not fair, but I'll let him do it. I try to let them do that stuff. But let's just say it's between August 20 and August 30. And it's closer to August 20. So kind of you can kind of figure out it's going to be one of those days is where it's at right now. And I still think Oklahoma's in a good spot for him. It's going to come down to NIL. And if Oklahoma continues to do what they're going to do, yeah, I think yeah. Yes, Dundee's, yes, they have 20. Let me look. I'll look real quick and see if they're at 20 or not. I don't think
are we
they're
at 20?
20. I thought they were 19, but I could be wrong, man. I don't I'm the last, I try to keep up with all that, the numbers part as much as I can.
20. We're at 20.
20.
Yeah, we're at 20.
The 20, yeah. So I guess, yeah. I always forget Cortez Mills was number 20. They had 19 before him. That's correct. Yep, they're at 20. Excuse me. Yep. So yeah, that would put them at 23, 24. If they close in half those guys they have left, that would be big. And I think Oklahoma can do it. I really do. I like Oklahoma standing there with a lot of those guys. It's just NIL. NIL can change it like that. We've all seen it. So, yes, that's look, Sean B., you said you heard 25, 26 players. Yes. Ideally, Oklahoma would like to do that numbers wise because you never know what's going to happen attrition wise. And you're probably going to process some guys out at the end of the year that aren't fulfilling their duties. When you're paying guys, that's what happens. So that's what I was saying. I think there's going to be some guys that Oklahoma is still working on that they can flip that maybe we're not even
Sure.
Privy to right now that they're talking to and, committed elsewhere type guys. If Oklahoma goes in and just kills it, just absolutely kills it this year, let's say they go 8-4, 9-3 in the SEC, I promise you that's going to be good enough momentum for them to continue to recruit at an elite level. And then 2025, they should, with everybody they have potentially returning. You're going to lose Billy Bowman. You're going to lose Danny Stutzman. You're going to lose a couple other guys, Woody Washington. I still think that as young as this team, I want to ask you this. If you're an Oklahoma fan right now, do you expect 24 to be a better team than 25? Or do you think 25, 26 is where it's going to get really interesting for you?
Yeah, definitely. You want to have you brought something up that I think matters, and that's just the game slowing down. And when you change schemes, and you've got a lot of personnel, coming in and out, you're thinking. I think this season, though, year 3 with a lot of our starters, those guys are going to feel comfortable. Like, so it doesn't surprise me to hear you talk about Billy, because I remember my third season. My third season, I knew exactly what to do and what to anticipate and so on and so forth. But next year, that Q position just matters so much anymore in football. Football is an offensive game now, right? The game is really geared towards scoring points and marketing the game, and the game
Mhm.
is much more marketable on offense. I think Jackson is going to have some lumps in a higher echelon of defensive players, physical players, fast players, guys playing on Sunday. I think next year the game really slows down for him. And here's the thing, right? Seth's going to be Seth. We have an advantage in that Seth was there last year, and so he was able to put some fundamental building blocks in place. But it's still a different offense, and there's going to be some tweaks in figuring out what they like. But you're right, all of our skill guys are coming back. The offensive line is going to be extremely young. The defensive line has a ton of depth. The DBs and the backers. There's so much young depth all around the field. It just makes sense to say that next season, and it'll be year 2 in a new conference where we'll have a better feeling and understanding of our foes, our
Mm.
opponents. I think we'll do well. I'm a 9-3 guy. I think our ceiling is. I don't like to put L's on the on our win loss record until we lose. You know what I'm saying? So until we lose,
Yeah.
we're going to go undefeated. But I think if you made me say 9-3, I think is a productive year. I think next year we can talk conference championship and on from there.
No, you heard it. You
Yeah.
heard it from the man, the OU alum, the national champ. Says he says this year maybe 9-3, but next year they're going to be looking at potential conference title and maybe competing for Natty.
Yeah.
Would you go that far?
I would. Why not? Right? Like, why do you go to OU if you're not going to play for ships? That, by the way, Bob
There
taught
you
us that.
go.
You don't come to OU. We come to OU to win, straight up. That's what you do, and the byproducts are all the beautiful glitz and glam. And now you can say publicly the money, right? I could never tell some stories, things that I experienced and saw when I was in college, because we never participated in any of that kind of stuff when I was in school. But now the
Mhm.
cool for those guys that they can.
Are you excited? Are you excited about this SEC stuff? Just mainly as and like, what's the thought process with all the other guys, particularly from that national title team? And I guess the other thing I want to ask is, hype comes back. How awkward is that going to be for all of you all on one end, and he's over there on the other in Tennessee Orange?
Look, Roy, I told this story in our pod. Roy went to the Hall of Fame last year, right? Maybe 2 years ago now, I don't know, but he was a Hall of Fame
Mhm.
inductee. And salute, my quarterback showed up. I was so excited because you just don't see Hype. And I talked to Hype a ton when he was here or when he was at OU, when he was the OC and the QB coach. He and I were, he was trying to get me to come back and coach back then. But anyway, obviously the way things ended was not right. It was not
Right.
good. And salute to him for taking that program and having some success. He's like, yo, Mackie, when you come to town, we're gonna take good care of you. So we're gonna go to Rocky Top and check them out, and I'm gonna be rocking yellow for that particular game. But Hype know what it is. When Hype come to Norman, ain't gonna be no love. We ain't gonna be talking. We ain't going to dinner. There ain't none of that. Ain't none of them novelties. No. When Hype come to town, he come to get his ass whooped. The end. And then on Monday, I'll text him and say, hey, bro, still love you. Best wishes for the season. But
Mhm.
Friday, Saturday, there ain't nothing to talk about. We don't got nothing to talk about. He's preparing
That's
to win.
hilarious.
Yeah, he's preparing to win a game, and I'm
Well,
preparing to see Hype.
he's gonna get the red carpet treatment. OU's gonna throw it. They're gonna try to throw him for a
Oh,
freaking emotional roller coaster, bro. They're gonna do that Westbrook, right? Where they got like the little montage up there for him and got how great he is. He's getting held up and doing
yeah,
all
yeah,
this
yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah. If
He's
you
gonna
know,
look
you
up
know.
there and everybody's got all the Tennessee fans are gonna go, damn, he's in his feelings right now. Snap out of it, hype. Snap out of it.
Yeah, that's gonna be good times, man. And I plan on being in Norman for that. I plan on being in Death Valley for the LSU game. But aside from those two games, I'm going to visit stadiums, man. I'll watch the OU, I'll DVR 'em or whatever it's called now, whatever. But I'll probably go to two games. I'll probably go to an early game
I
in
just keep
September too.
forgetting.
Aside from that, I'm
Hold
watching some
on.
good games.
So I just something just happened. Like who did people saying that somebody just decommitted? Am I reading that right?
I'm not on.
I'm trying to find Twitter right here, but I can't like pull this up here. Yeah, we're live. I'm sorry. I read it in the um
Mm, I don't see anything.
yeah. Oh, Kamari Moore just decommitted. Oh well. I mean, yeah, that stinks. But I'm not shocked, guys. I'm just gonna sit there and tell you I'm not shocked. Um, maybe that is some good news for Brandon Brown. I don't know. Um, somebody said Kamari Moore just decommitted. Is that really what happened? Like somebody, like we're live here, so I have no idea, and I'm not seeing this on Twitter.
It's still showing here.
Well, I'm trying to find his.
Oh, you're gonna look his profile up.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. This is how we have to do this. Um, well,
You see it? Because I sure don't.
yeah, I just don't understand why somebody would say Kamara Moore decommitted if that's like what? The Sooner State. Okay. That's what somebody's buddy said they heard. Okay, don't do that to me, people. I'm over here looking here. I'm not on Twitter. Like don't do that. Like um yeah, dude, like God, y'all had me like all over
Ah.
worried. And I'm like, because he sent a tweeted yesterday about how all these are all dogs and stuff like that. And I guess if you like, I was thinking about numbers at that point. I was like, I guess it's not that big of a deal. Like not that, not like I said, it's a huge deal. I guess it's not that surprising if they're going to have 5D tackles. I guess if they were going to end up with Picard and Brandon Brown potentially, but to me, you want Kamari Moore on the team. So I mean, like, dude, come
That's a big
on.
boy. That's a big
Come
boy.
on, State Five Sinks. Don't do that to us, brother.
Yeah, we all
Don't
got
do that. If you're right, I'll give it out. I'll give it up to you later on. But man, don't do that to me. I'm over here like freaking out looking on stuff, breaking news, and I'm over here on a live, unable to do that. His last tweet is literally him talking up the OU 2025 class 2 days ago. So maybe I don't know. Don't do that to me again. God dang, guys. All right. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. You're good, State. I know. No need to apologize. You're good. Anyways. All right. I think that's gonna do it because I'm gonna go check on some things now. I gotta go check on some things and make sure we're good on the old Kamari Moore size. Dad gum, bro.
Hey,
All
bro,
right.
guys, shoot me a DM. Like, shoot me a text when you get the confirmation, man. I need to know quickly.
Yeah. I'll tell you. All right. That's going to do it for this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. If you're not subscribed here, subscribe right here on this YouTube channel. We're going to have a ton of content for you guys coming up over the next few weeks. SEC Media Days is coming up. So there's going to be so much right here on this YouTube channel for you guys that love anything that's OU related, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, softball, recruiting. It's going to be loaded for you right here on this YouTube channel. Also, OU Insider VIP. $9.95 a month. $9.95 will get you a whole year. Right now is the time to sign up and just give us a chance because you got SEC Media Days and there's going to be a ton of it's commit month. You got Party in the Palace. You got Sooners Under the Stars. So you got the 25 class of the Party in the Palace. You got 26, 27, 28 at the Sooners Under the Stars on, I believe, July 26th. And then July 27th will be Party in the Palace. Lots of information going there. And then obviously early August, fall camp starts up. In between there, we're going to have a lot of team information for you guys. Players are working out. Say who is doing who's standing out, who's going to make a move this offseason, who's going to make a move during the season, whether it's up the depth chart or not. We'll have that for you over there on OU Insider VIP. And then we're going to have a ton of content for you as far as coverage of fall camp and coverage of recruiting on all the way up to the very first game when Oklahoma opens up against Temple on August 31st. So make sure you sign up. We'd love to have you. We've grown exponentially on OU Insider VIP over the last month and a half, and we can't thank you guys enough. So thank you. And also thank you, Danny Mackey, for filling in for Parker Thune, man. You're awesome. Love the stories. You are awesome. All right. That's going to do it. We appreciate you guys for joining us on this version of the OU Insider Under the Visor YouTube Live. You guys have a blessed day.